Just a quick look at the materials before I get started. I'll just make sure I got this the right way around. Always have the colours in the same place on the palette. The ultramarine, lemon yellow, Payne's grey, alizarin crimson, raw sienna, burnt umber and light red. They're all Cotman watercolours just squeezed onto the palette and allowed to dry. Underneath there we've got our three main brushes, the large one Ranson 8, 3/4 inch flats, number 3 rigger. Got my water jar, bit of tissue if I need it. The paper's 15 by 11 Fabriano. Got my tea towel up there drying, which I take the excess water off the hake on by wiping. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take some clean water with the hake and just brush it all over. I'm just going to see how straight away it starts to dry as the water comes off. So I've just dipped it in just to bring all the hairs back together. A bit more water on the brush. I'm just going to go a bit of raw sienna just to contrast against the darker areas of sky which I'm about to put in. So I want a bit of water on the brush. I want this to be nice and dark now, so I'm doing ultramarine, a bit of Payne's grey, and that side coming a bit. This time a bit of burnt umber. And so as soon as the hair starts to separate, just dip the tips in just to bring them back together. Ultramarine, stick a bit of light red in there as well. Ultramarine, Payne's grey, really darken it up a bit. Just pop a few clouds in. I've got a alizarin crimson. Just dot some clouds, and obviously they get smaller and smaller as they go off into the horizon. Big ones up there. See how it's starting to separate, so I'm just dipping the tips in just to bring the hairs back together. Just get that dark a bit still. A few more little clouds. Plain tissue. A few white clouds up there. Sort of random. You can even, as you pick the paint up off there to create the clouds there, you can pop a few more clouds down there. A few up there as well. And, if you want to get them a bit white, just press on a bit hard and see how it comes off a bit more. You'll need clean tissue and it'll have to be quite wet as well. As it starts to dry, obviously it'll get harder and harder to lift off. You can see as the paint I'm taking off, I'm just putting back on the lighter areas. Maybe just touch it red. I don't know if I needed that or not, but then you can see it starts to dry as you put it on still. It gets darker and darker as you put layer upon layer, but obviously now it's drying. I'm going to start to get hard edges very soon unless I stop now. I could wet it again, but I think that's okay for what I want. So I'm just going to, because the paper's stretched, I'm just going to pull it tight. And we don't have a nice sort of background to work with. So I'm going to bother drying the paper. I want to get out of the habit, if I can, of using the hairdryer, because I'd like to start painting a bit more outside. Obviously I won't have the hairdryer when I'm outside, so if I can, I'd like to start letting it dry naturally and see if I can just manage with it just going a bit, just slightly damp. I can look at it from up here and I can see now it's wet there, it's starting to dry around here, it's wet there and wet there. So I'm just going to put this mountain in there. I'm going to start somewhere up there. I'm just going to come can see how the paint's breaking because there's not too much water on the brush. I've had just enough just to keep the hairs together. Now there's a bit of light on that mountain, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the light a bit in first. I'm just going to clean the brush. I'm just going to go straight into the yellow. Just straight into the yellow. And there's sort of lighted area up there, something like that. Right, now let's go back to the, I don't know why I bothered cleaning it then, because I'm going dark. We always go light to dark, so yellow, bit of ultramarine. Basically what you want, the distant land, you want the sky colours, so it blends in nicer. You can see. Let's just come to there. Let's just try and vary this slightly. I'm introducing a bit of burnt umber, a bit of raw sienna, back to the lemon yellow. Just trying to get a bit of variation, a bit more lemon yellow. Want to get sort of cloudy, misty effect on the top. Just take a bit off with the tissue as the mist goes up there. Not too much. Just gives that impression of clouds going over the top of the mountain. Anyway, back down there, back into the lemon yellow, and over this side. So I'll clean the brush now. I want quite a watery mix now because this bit's a lot further away. So I'm just going to go just a little bit of the sky colours. Then we've got a sort of distant mountain over there. You can see how far away that looks now compared to the other one. Very little change in tone. A lot more water, a lot less paint. Very little detail, and it just looks so much further away than this one. Right, now what I want next is a sort of tree line coming across there. So what I'm going to do, again, just dip the tips in just to make sure the hairs are together. I'm going to go into all our sort of greeny colours, which is blue, yellow, Payne's grey. I want this nice and strong, so I want it to contrast against, I could dry it now with the hair dry, but I'll see if I can get on with without drying it, so just see what it looks like. And then I'm just going to flick up like that. Tree lines down to about there. I don't want to cover up too much of that distant land I've just put in. So it comes down a bit down there. See, because it's still wet, it's sort of softening off a bit. I didn't mean to do that, but never mind. You see how it's softening up there again, contrast against that bit that was drier. Just go right up again at the end. Something like that, and then once I've got the all the tree tops in, let's go a bit lighter down underneath it. A bit of just raw sienna down there, down the base of this tree line, just to sort of blend it all together. Yellow, nice green. Now what I'm going to do is put the path in. I'm going to try and keep it light, I think. Nice light path. Because that bit of the paper, I've kept it sort of light down the centre anyway. So again, if I just go, say, a bit of Payne's grey, a bit of ultramarine, and then if I do a sort of sweepy, just do a few practice strokes first, so I'm going to do something like that, something like that. I mean, if you can, just try and get it in one stroke if you can, just to let the paint break. Just gives it a bit of texture. So I've cleaned the brush, and then I'm going to go lemon yellow. Raw sienna. Let's just get some variation there, a bit of ultramarine. bit of burnt umber. Just changing it as I come down back to the to the other side. I want to get another layer in here, so I want this to be a lot stronger. So I'm really going strong now, little water, plenty of paint. Let's get another sort of layer of land. See now, because I put that in dark, see how it contrasts nicely against the sort of base of the mountain there. So I want to go back. I've started dark, so the only way you can get back to light is to clean the brush. If it was the other way around, you wouldn't have to clean it so much. It's just keep varying it on the way down. Sort of just take a piece of card, just help bring that path out a bit, just a few little rocks there, maybe a big rock there. Remember, if you do overdo it like I've just done here, if you overdo it, you can always just take a bit of paint and just paint straight over it. Just leave the bits you do like. That'll do. A few little flicks of the fingernail, a few little bits of grass here and there. Or you could do with the rigger if you like, switch to the rigger. Flick a few little bits of grass up. You can even have a little man. Just walking off into the distance. Let's just put a little dog next to him. Just walking his dog. Which way is the light coming? The light's coming straight down, and it's something like that. Just put a little shadows on like that. I don't think I'm going to need the hake anymore, so I'll pop that in the water. I think I'm pretty much done with this. If I just find a dry bit, pop my signature down there. And I'll call that one finished. So let's see what it looks like with the mounts on. So here's that picture with the mounts on. Let's go in and have a closer look at it. As usual, started with the sky, and I've tried to get a bit of colour and a bit of texture into this sky. Started off raw sienna just to the lighter areas, and then a combination of Payne's grey, ultramarine, burnt umber, alizarin crimson as well, putting in some of these distant clouds that you can see go off and sort of thin out as they go out into the distance. Bit of work with the tissue as well. We're going a bit closer, you can just see how the tissue helps bring out the white clouds. And then also, you see I've sort of took it out with the tissue and then sort of carried on dabbing it and put it back on. Right, as that goes down off over the horizon. Sort of mountain peak, put in nice strong colour, dark tone to contrast against the lighter areas of the sky. Used a bit of tissue as well, just to soften it, just so it looks as if there's cloud coming over the hill there, and then just varied the colour as we've come down the side of the mountain. You can see, just to get another layer in, I'd put this on really strong as it comes down into the foreground. So this strong mountain, you can see This one's much further away. I put it in with a lot more water. No detail at that sort of distance. And the advantage of keeping it nice and light like that is then when I put the tree line in, you get a nice contrast when you put it nice and dark. Where it was wet, it's not as sharp, and then where the paper was dry when I put it in, just like say there, you can see you get it so much sharper as opposed to the light, the wet paper. Sort of path sort of winds down into the foreground. Bit of scraping out with the card just to suggest a few rocks there and there. Like I say, if you overdo it like I did, you can paint straight back over it. A few little flicks with a nail here just to put in a few grasses, a few more done with the rigger. And then we've got our little figures, little man walking his dog with a couple of little shadows coming off. Well, I hope you like that. Thanks for watching. Keep practicing. Any questions please ask, and I'll see you again soon.